Hello and welcome to Who Wins podcast, where each episode we pit pop culture icons against each other in a brutal fight to the death. This episode we are pitting Inspector Gadget against the second time combatant Robocop. We've had Robocop before, right?
Yes.
We had a triple threat.
Yes, with Ultron and Terminator.
Yeah, I can't remember how he fared. It was that long ago. This was like way back back when.
He beat Ultron.
Did he beat Terminator?
No.
Okay, so it was
I don't think so anyway.
I can't remember. It was way back. I remember it was back in the time we were recording in my kitchen, when my kitchen was being dug up because of the big alien brain under the floor.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember recording it in my kitchen, so that must be 5 years ago we first did that. So
could be, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a while ago. So we haven't seen him for a while. I think he's only outside of Christmas. I think he's only like the second combatant we've ever doubled up on. I'm sure we've had someone else. I've been racking my brain all day and I couldn't work out who it was.
I know we've crossed shows on some.
Maybe
crossed shows on quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is the thing with Inspector Gadget. Like, Inspector Gadget was actually the first episode of SMPD.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So okay, so we're gonna pit the two of them together. Here we go. Let's see. By the way, if we're a bit out of sorts tonight, it is because I have literally just rocked Mark's world with a shocking revelation about 30 seconds before we hit the air. For more on that, listen to next week's SMP. But both of us have had our worlds rocked just slightly before recording this evening. So if we're slightly out of sorts, our brains are probably elsewhere. But as I say, for more on that, just tune in next week to SMPD. So, okay, Inspector Gadget and Robocop, both cyborgs, because that was one of the first things I was thinking about is, like, Robocop is very clearly, very blatantly a cyborg. Like, he is the perfect example of a cyborg, part man, part machine.
Yeah.
Inspector Gadget's a bit more muddy, though, isn't he? Because, like, his origin story is, because I still vaguely remember some of the research that we did, because back in those days I even did research for SMPD for like the first 2 or 3 episodes before we like stopped taking it super seriously and it became the show it is now, where we're just talking about shows that we love. When we were actually doing research and trying to sound like we knew what the fuck we were talking about, I did plenty of research for that, and I remember there being sort of multiple kind of different origin stories for Inspector Gadget, one of which basically makes him a complete android. He is a robot. He's like a recreation of Penny's uncle.
Yeah.
That's sort of where they went in the film as well, wasn't it? I think. Yeah. Whereas the actual, I think from what I remember, the actual canon origin of Inspector Gadget is that he is a cyborg. I believe he fell on a banana skin. I could be misremembering this. I'm sure it was he fell. I mean, it was, again, probably about 4 years ago I did this research, but I remember it being absolutely ridiculous. Like in the film, I seem to remember he gets blown up.
Yeah, but I can't remember. I can't remember the origin, but according to the wiki page, he's part man, part machine with thousands of gadgets installed in his body.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there was something ridiculous, like he slipped on a banana skin and ended up getting, like, I don't know, fell off a building or crushed by a car or whatever ridiculous. But he had like a suitably stupid, clumsy accident.
Yeah, which is kind of in keeping.
Yeah. So I think we take that version of him, like, because then they're both cyborgs, which is where this fucking fight idea came from. So as opposed to like all the mad, I was going to use the term conspiracy theories, but we need to remember these are not real characters. The mad
that you're aware of.
Yeah, where Inspector Gadget is actually like Dr. Claw, because that's the actual Inspector Gadget, and Inspector Gadget is a robot. And it's a whole thing, people. Seriously. Yeah. Like, I mean, for more on that, listen to episode 1 of SMPD, but it's a whole thing. Inspector Gadget's origins, whole thing. Robocop's slightly more straightforward. As we know, Murphy gets blown up, gets all his arms and legs blown off. He doesn't get blown up, he just gets blown to pieces, basically, with a shotgun.
Shot a lot.
Yeah, with a shotgun, and ends up sort of being made into Robocop. Now, we are going to take, and I will have no argument on this from anybody, write in as always, but I will have no argument on this from anybody. There is only one Robocop, and we are taking Peter Weller's.
Yes.
Like, the others don't exist, okay? They don't. And actually, the Joel Kinnaman one wasn't, like, it's not that bad, but it's not Robocop. It's something completely different. All right?
The only thing they did, I mean, obviously it looked like Robocop, but no, they could have put another generic cyborg in there and had the same movie.
Yeah, it's not Robocop, and like after Robocop 2, none of that's Robocop either.
No,
It's I mean
especially
once
not
he
the
gets
fucking PG TV series.
no once he gets the jetpack and starts fighting the ninjas and like
That's when you know you've run out of ideas for your franchise.
yeah, get fucked. Okay, so we're taking Robocop from Robocop 1 and 2, and not the cartoon either. Yes, there was a cartoon.
Yes,
That's what we should put on our SMPD list. Actually, I can't believe
is
we
it
hadn't
on the
thought of
list
that.
already?
Don't believe it is.
I thought it should be. I thought it was.
Yeah, it definitely should be. So it's that Robocop against, I mean, again, Inspector Gadget. There's, for me, there's only one, like, and that's the original one. And we're not doing Matthew Broderick's version. We're not doing fucking Gadget and the Gadgetinis. We're not doing any of those. Although, I mean, that is Inspector Gadget anyway. But we're going for
80s
just
cartoon Gadget.
yeah, just like base Inspector Gadget. So, I mean, look, you look at the two of them, and in terms of just physical bulk and strength, like Robocop could squish Gadget to a pulp instantly, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Like Gadget's quite wiry. He doesn't look like he can throw a punch, does he? Let's be fair.
Well, no, his arms are all floppy.
Well, I hadn't even got to that point, but yeah, he just looks like he's a wet blanket, isn't he? He's. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a detective, isn't he? He's not Robocop's a beat cop. Essentially, he's an officer. He's a police officer. Like he's there to beat the shit out of people. That's what police officers do.
Yeah, they're all fine.
Not ours. No, we love
ours.
Honestly, yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah, I jest. But yeah, he's got physical bulk, carries a gun. Gadget's got none of that. But for all of that, you said his arms are floppy, and actually, one thing he has got is tremendous reach because he can literally
he's got
go Gadget arm.
I was saying he's got incredible reach, but also he can just fucking tie you up like a snake between the arms and the legs.
This is the key, isn't it? He may be weedy and he may be clumsy, but he's got I don't think there's an actual canon list of his gadgets because they could literally just go, what does he need this week?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
It's Batman shark repellent spray, isn't it? What does he need? Right, we'll give it to him.
Yeah, but I mean, even just looking at some of the ones we saw often, if he needed to escape from Robocop, he can get his roller skate legs or the helicopter hat. Yeah. If he needs to throw a punch, telescopic arms. I'm pretty sure he did have a gun in his finger, didn't he?
Did he? Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Pretty sure he had a gun in his finger. Yeah. So
he had a couple of finger gadgets. He had the phone, which is obviously that.
Yeah.
And then he had a key in one of them as well. Now I was thinking that was going to be key, no pun intended, because in anything 80s, anything to do with the computer had a port, much like you had in Star Wars for R2-D2 to plug in and spin shit around.
Mm-hmm.
So if Robocop's got one of these ports lying around and he's got a thing coming out of his finger, I'm fairly sure, just as luck would have it, all computer ports were the same. So he'd stick that in. He could possibly hack Robocop.
Well, Robocop's is in the back of his head. That's canon. We see that because that's why they sit him in the chair. They sit him in the chair, right. And it's more like a spike sort of thing, but it goes in the back of his head. So it's like a circular thing that locks in place. So, I mean, Gadget would have to have that specific shape because it isn't just like your standard. It's not a USB. Put it out wrong way, try the next way, wrong way, go back to the first way. It's not that easy. it's like a proper circular thing.
No, that's how you do it now. You put a virus on a fucking USB and just upload it.
Well, I mean, you could take both of them down like that, couldn't you? But yeah, I think you're right. I think Gadget would be more likely to. But maybe I haven't seen Robocop 2 for a very, very long time. But don't they do something like that in Robocop 2?
I think I've only seen Robocop 2 once, and I'd have been far too young to have watched it. I can't remember a shitload about it, I've got to be honest.
Pretty sure he gets some sort of virus or something in Robocop 2. Wouldn't swear by it, but I haven't seen it for a very long time. Incidentally, I don't dislike it. I have seen it many times. I just haven't seen it for a long time. I haven't seen Robocop for a long time either.
I hadn't until about 2 years ago, and it was on TV. And it was on stupid o'clock in the morning. I was just about to turn the TV off and go to bed. And Robocop's starting. Right, that's 4 o'clock then.
I mean that's the law. If Robocop's on, no pun intended. If Robocop's on, you have to watch Robocop. I have it on Blu-ray. I just haven't spun it for a while.
Yeah, Robocop, Die Hard, any of those films. If they come, no matter what time they start, got to watch it.
Yeah, if you land upon them, then
I was talking to a friend New Year's morning, and we were sort of chatting on text, and I just flipped the channel over, and Halloween was starting. Now Halloween on fucking New Year's Day.
What the fuck?
That's bizarre. But again, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. Halloween starting. Right. Okay. Lights off. Here we go.
Thing is with Halloween as well, it's like was it like 80 minutes? So you're fine. You can just watch it through. To be fair, Robocop's only about 90 minutes. I think it's not
Yeah.
very long.
No, it's not.
Anyway, we're digressing already. But yeah, if it's on, you have to watch it. That's the law. I'm pretty sure he does get some sort of virus. Or there's definitely something. I mean, he gets the shit kicked out of him by that really crap Ed 209 substitute that they bring in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't quote me on that then, listeners. But yeah, in theory, you're right. You could just upload a virus and that would be it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think actually, despite the bulk of the frame, you know, taking the computer side out of it, then the virus side out of it, and if you were to play on the humanity of them both, because let's not forget they are both partly human as well.
Yeah.
Oddly, despite the way he may be portrayed, I think Robocop's actually the weaker of the two emotionally in that stance. I mean, Gadget's got connection because he's got Penny and Brain, so you know he has got people that he cares about, but it's kind of essential to Robocop's whole character that he has his wife and child. That's who he is. He's Murphy. You know, he has a family and he's lost all of that. That's what makes him who he is. He has a partner, he has a family, he has these connections to the person that he used to be.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, he's emotionally weak to that. Now, whether Gadget is, I don't think Gadget's vindictive enough to play that game.
No, I don't either.
I don't think he's averse to killing. I think he would do what he needs to do.
We've only ever seen him in a kid's cartoon, so they kind of shy away from it there.
Yeah, but I think he would do what he needed to do. I just don't think he would be vindictive about it.
No, I mean, at the end, no, both of them are Johnny Law. They will do what they need to do to get their man. And the difference is that because of the media we saw them in, the medium we saw them in, Robocop shot a load of fucking people. Whereas Inspector Gadget didn't. That's not to say he wouldn't have, had he not been in an 18-rated action movie.
I would pay good money if somebody makes that film.
Yes.
I would
even put up with Matthew Broderick if that's the film they made.
I think I would like it even more if it was Matthew Broderick. I think that would be amazing to see Matthew Broderick's Inspector Gadget just wandering around fucking shotgunning people. Yeah, be fucking
Don't
amazing.
get me, I've got nothing against Matthew Broderick either. Just his portrayal of Inspector Gadget was shit because the film was shit.
Yeah, it's not his fault. It's a fucking diabolical film. I don't think he's a terrible casting choice by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I think it was the production was awful.
Yeah, but yeah, I would pay good money to see that version of Inspector. Someone make that, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's gags just right in themselves there. You know, if the little finger pistol just all of a sudden gets bigger and bigger and bigger and turns into a giant fucking hand cannon, and he just walks around fucking flat out Dirty Harry icing people.
And it's a proper Arnie level pun factory as well. You make that as a violent action movie, and that's fantastic.
Might have to write that. Copyright us.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we have no claim to Inspector Gadget whatsoever, but we don't have to call it Inspector Gadget until such a time that we'd want to produce it. So let's just write the fucking thing first.
Absolutely.
So where was I? Yeah, a vulnerability. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think Gadget would play that game. And then weirdly, even though he's more emotionally vulnerable, I don't think Robocop's got the compassion to play on it the other side. Like I don't think he fully understands why he's. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he could emote to Inspector Gadget then, or play on things like Penny and Brain. I don't. There is no talking their way out of this on either side.
No, and to be fair, like I don't think even if he were feeling vindictive, Robocop is not the character that would do that anyway. No, Robocop would just say, "Well, fuck it, I've got a gun. What do I need to kidnap his family for? I would just shoot the fucker."
Yeah, exactly. Robocop is much like a computer, just task orientated.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're disallowing guns as usual.
Yes, we always disallow guns. I mean, it's kind of Robocop's main thing, but you know, it's not his only thing. It's just his main thing. Obviously, he's got the inbuilt targeting system and stuff like that. But if you allow that gun, he literally takes Gadget out in a millisecond. Like Gadget shows up, Robocop just fucking flat out blows his head off.
Yeah,
like, it's not even. And he can even try and helicopter away. Like the targeting system's going to lock on that
So
fucking
I
semi-automatic
was thinking
pistol.
earlier actually when you were talking about him roller skating away, I'm thinking you'll just target him and shoot him in the back.
Yeah, semi-automatic pistol as well. Like he's just gonna fuck him up. So yeah, if it comes down to fist fighting, then which is what it's going to do, because as I said, I don't think Gadget's got smarts. I think he's kind of he's a little bit Adam West Batman in that
Yeah,
respect,
yes,
isn't he?
yes,
Like he's a little bit like he will have the most ridiculous, convoluted plan possible,
yeah,
but somehow it will work.
yeah.
You know, through sheer dumb luck as much as anything else, because he'll guarantee to cock it up.
Well, that's the thing, and I mean, it's not as if he's dumb. As he is smart. He's just not dexterous, so he completely fucks it up because he's so clumsy all the time.
Hence, becoming a cyborg by tripping on a banana skin.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish I could remember what the accident was. But I'm positive it started with falling on a banana skin.
You
That
may be
much
right.
know.
I can't remember.
Positive of it, because I remember there being some weird story as well about how it was never revealed in the show, but then there
Yeah.
was like, I don't know, maybe it was a game or something. Anyway, it was revealed somewhere else, like years fucking later.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It was like this big retcon thing. Anyway, again, digressing. So if it comes down to fistfights, the one thing Robocop has got is he's got that fucking. We were talking about interfacing. He's got that spike that comes out of his wrist that he uses to interface with computers.
Yeah.
That's a fucking lethal weapon if ever I saw one.
It is, but again, you've got to be close to use it.
You have, yeah. I mean, and actually, I don't think Robocop's range is going to be that great, nor is his movement going to be that fast, because he is quite robotic compared to Gadget.
I was going to say he's quite bulky, but I mean, as I remember, when they did, it was either when they dropped Robocop 3 or when they dropped the cartoon and like the TV series that went, no, the live action TV series and the cartoon were similar sort of time, I think, weren't they?
Yes, yeah.
And there was a range of toys came out, and I remember a friend of mine had the Robocop figure, and obviously it's just a lot of it was down to the way it was built, it was manufactured, but the arms were already built at the elbow as if they were in gunfire, gun holding poise, and you could either have one or you could have both or no. But to make them punch, you had to move the whole body. And it may have been the way the toy was articulated, but I wouldn't be sure about that. So I mean, his movement was always fairly limited anyway, until they started putting fucking jetpacks and stuff on him. So I mean, that's always going to be an issue. And it's, as I said earlier, Gadget's got range, and he's got fucking spaghetti arms he could wrap you up in. The thing Robocop's got going for him is he has that big fucking faceplate that covers everything apart from his mouth.
I mean, and it's not just a faceplate; he's basically a fucking walking tank.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you look to attack his head, you've got that much, and everything else is covered, and then the rest of his body is all covered. It's steel or poly fucking armor or whatever it is. And then even the bits that aren't, so when you come down from the chest and you've got all the black bit, that's all going to be fucking carbon fiber or graphite or something, which is going to be fucking strong as well. There's nothing exposed apart from his mouth. And let's be fair, you knock a couple of teeth in, he's not going to be fucking bothered, is he?
No, and even then, this is certainly never explored in the first two films. Whether it's explored in the TV series and whether it's explored in any other media, I don't know. But certainly, even if you'd get that helmet off and expose his face, I've always thought, and I say it's never explored, so I've always thought it looks to me as though the skin of his face is just stretched over a robotic frame to me, because the back of his head is all fucking wires and metal and stuff like that, and then when you see his face, like it's as if it's just like all, the first.
So it's very like bad Botox, and it's just all fucking full flat.
Yeah. So I've always kind of thought that he's actually got, kind of an endoskeleton type of thing, almost like Terminator. And
so the face is real.
Well, there's the brain, isn't there? He's definitely got a brain and a spinal cord, because you see him like on the computer.
Yeah.
And he's got internal organs as well, because that's what helps generate the power that moves him. Basically, that's why he has to keep eating the baby food to keep the organs alive.
Oh yeah,
so he can
powers of,
again, in the newer one,
the fucking battery.
Yeah, in the newer one, he's squishier. In the Joel Kinnaman one, he is squishier. He is a lot more human.
Right.
But yeah, like Robocop is a cyborg, but he's definitely more. I've always seen him as anyway more machine than man. Like that, I don't get the impression that we say like he's got the armored breastplates and stuff, but I don't think if you take that off,
There's
I
not a
don't
body
think
under there.
there's not body under there. That's like there's organs probably, but there's no body. I don't think. I'm sure someone somewhere has written a thesis on the actual biological structure of Robocop. If you want, like the internet is a thing. Somebody way smarter than us has done this. I guarantee it. But yeah, I've always thought of him as just like this machine with a human brain, rather than the more traditional cyborg tends to be the flip the other way, doesn't it? It's
more human. They've added robot bits.
Yeah, it's an augmented human essentially. You know, like Cyborg from Justice League, for instance. But I don't think Robocop's that. Like, for instance, if Gadget comes up to him and huffs him in the nuts, like nothing's happening. There's nothing there.
No.
Like he's a fucking Ken doll. There's nothing.
I was going to say that would be a massive fucking design for if they gave him nats.
Yeah, it would really, wouldn't it?
Because surely, if you're rebuilding that much, you just rebuild him without the need to piss.
Yeah, no need to piss. That's the point. He's probably not even got an anus or anything, is he? No need to piss. No need to shit. No need to. Doesn't make little action figures.
It would depend on how the food is processed. Because obviously there's a process to turn the food, the baby food into energy, to power.
True. Yeah.
I know. So the first or third law of thermodynamics, I can't remember, but something can become something else, but it doesn't disappear.
It would have to escape via gas, surely.
Yeah. So,
like, you don't want to be anywhere near him at the end of the night. Like, just give it. I mean, yeah, don't like no open flame.
No anywhere near,
anywhere near Robocop is a bad idea. You know the shot where he blows the petrol station up. It's like it wasn't the petrol pumps. It was all the excess baby food. Again, that's just one of those things where you go, meh, whatever.
Well, yeah, exactly. At this point, it's a robot man. So suspension of disbelief isn't a thing because you don't believe anything anyway.
No, exactly. So there is. Whilst Gadget can, what I'm trying to say is, whilst Gadget can, yes, punch a long way, yes, he can wrap him up and make him trip, stuff like that. Like, I don't see Gadget penetrating that armor without, like, he needs like Go Gadget fucking chainsaw or something.
Yeah.
Like he can punch Robocop all day long, and Robocop's just gonna take it.
Then again, if you think of Gadget and thinking, right, okay, he's got the reach, he's going to use his arm, use the arms and legs to trip him. Possibly keep him on the floor. Surely in one of his removable fingertips is a Go Gadget screwdriver. And he can just start unscrewing everything from behind.
He could definitely do that. He could do things like take the visor off. I mean,
take the panels off.
One thing Robocop definitely has, I think, is eyes, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Then I don't think they might be augmented eyes, but I think they're actual. So like they're squishy to start with. So if you get the helmet off, you can then and you've got your screwdriver, you just straight in the eye. You would blind him. He definitely has like an ocular response.
Yeah.
So you would blind him. But I mean, I'm more thinking even if with the arm coming towards Robocop, like I know we said his movement isn't the best, and he does move quite robotically, but he is relatively fast with it. In fact, he's very fast with his reflexes. So I think like he could easily grab hold of one of those arms, and when he does, he'd just pull it straight out of the fucking socket, wouldn't he? He's got the torque there to do it. I think he would just literally just snap it. Sound effects courtesy of my mouth, everybody. That's the sound of Inspector Gadget arm breaking.
I think so. I mean, the difficulty with Gadget is that we never see how he's put together. Like
whereas Robocop, we see him getting put together. Yeah.
But with Gadget, there are no joints anywhere.
Well, he's kind of like a massive fucking bag of holding, isn't he? I get like. This is something, even as a kid, like this is something that always freaked me out about Inspector Gadget. And this again comes down to whether he's a cyborg or not. Like he is a cyborg, we've established that, okay. But if he were to be an android and not a cyborg, as in one of the origins, then you could imagine that he more or less has an empty body that's just packed full of all of these gadgets. He's got some circuitry, and then
it's just like a reel, when you just pull stuff out on
where there would be muscle and sinew and stuff like that. There are gadgets, but like for these gadgets to be fused into organic flesh, like where does he store them? Like he has to be hollow at some point. There has to be a hollow space inside him
that
can store all of this stuff. And like now you would argue it away for like, it's nanotechnology. It's fucking like Iron Man. It's nanobots, right? So the suit can live inside him now. It's nanobots. They'll all come out and we'll give them an
they'll
electric
make
charge.
extra arms and shit.
Yeah, they'll get like a positron charge or something, and they'll all fuse together, and that'll be that. And actually, like I've just convinced myself, like if you're writing it today, that's absolutely what you would do. He would have nanobots.
Again, copyright us.
Yeah, but this wasn't today. This was the fucking 80s.
Yeah, this was 1982. Right? I mean, I always kind of envisioned. Do you remember? Was it Ram Man from He-Man?
Yeah,
the toy of that with the telescopic legs that just went up inside him.
Yeah,
and it would just be like that, but also with the arms, which would just be on some sort of fucking spindle, which you'd wind up in the middle to drag them back out again.
But that is kind of what it looks like, isn't it? Because they come out on like these metal chains, and everything seems to have a joint. Like even when the tip of his finger comes off, like it flips open. Yeah, it's hinged. So that part of him isn't human. He looks human as far as we know, but he's wearing the trench coat. Yeah. So, and even his head, again, like the top of his head comes off for the fucking helicopter to come out. No, it doesn't. It comes with the hat. That comes out of the hat. Yeah.
I mean, again, it's got to be in his head.
But it's got to be in his head.
Because it's not as if he has to attach anything. It's already there.
No. So I've always kind of, like, if you were to draw the anatomy of Gadget, he would just be a big fucking empty box, wouldn't he?
Yeah. I always wonder about the trench coat as well. Was he like a cyborg Flasher?
Well, this is the thing. I think we covered this on SMPD as well. Does he have a cock under there? Like, because again, that, like, all joking aside, that's a weak point. If Robocop huffs you in your knackers, like, that's game over. Like, can you imagine the force and that great big massive metal foot?
So it would be hydraulic as well. So it would all be it would all be pressure, wouldn't it?
You kick him up into your fucking throat. Like, you just, that would be it. Game over.
Well, the performance anxiety wouldn't be a thing, would it? Be Go Gadget cock.
Yeah. I mean, see, this does. You've set me off on a path now, because this is something I have wondered about with Inspector Gadget, whether he's hollow or not. What's under the trench coat? Does he have a penis? Like, these are questions that I need to know. Robocop is blatant. We know he doesn't. Like I say, he's a Ken doll. It's clear. He's a fucking walking suit of armor with a brain. That's what he is.
And the thing is, when you look at Robocop, because of as a walking suit of armor with a brain, so that there isn't a human body. So to manufacture any sort of anatomy downstairs is entirely redundant. So just from a cost-saving point of view, why would you bother sticking the cock and balls on him?
Yeah, it's just not efficient.
Maybe fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could maybe see the argument that as he becomes more self-aware and as he starts to remember who he was, then maybe there's some sort of psychological reason there that you'd maybe want to do it in the same way.
Maybe retrofit it, same as a jetpack.
Yeah, I mean, you think like Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, where all of a sudden he starts growing internal organs out of fibers, and he doesn't need them, but his body thinks he needs them. It's something that he thinks he needs, and they're entirely redundant. His lungs, his heart, his organs are all entirely redundant because he's plant matter. But in his Swamp Thing form, in his elemental form, he grows these things. And it would be the same thing with Robocop. You would think like he knows that, like, essentially he's Robo Eunuch. So that's going to have a psychological effect.
Would it be like a phantom limb type thing whereby he thinks
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So like once he remembers that he's Murphy, like, is he going to think like, well, where's my dick? Why am I a eunuch all of a sudden? Whereas Inspector Gadget, perhaps.
And that would be bad form on the. I can't remember the name of the guy who blew him apart, but that'd be pretty bad form to blow his cock off.
Yeah, I mean, nobody does that.
No, like, I mean, arms and legs, fine, but no, you don't kick a man in the pits.
Cock off. No, definitely not. Then again, I mean, he was shooting pretty close on those legs, and it was a shotgun, so there's not a lot of control, is there?
No, true.
Who knows? Where the fuck were Inspector Gadget flashing? That's right. You should know better than to get me going on imaginary cocks. Like, how long have we been doing this show now? And how often does that particular road always lead to just a complete flight of fancy on my point? Like, don't get me started on imaginary cocks. If I was on Mastermind, it would be my specialist subject, honestly.
There's a slogan for a T-shirt. Don't get me started on
imaginary cocks. Yeah.
There you go. Maybe we'll start selling some merch.
I mean, if Gadget did have one, though, right? Let's just humor me. Let's say he does have it, like you say, like Go-Go Gadget cock would be a thing, but like it would be a weapon. Because everything has a function with Gadget. Like
Yeah.
you get the roller skates come out with the
Well, I don't
shoes.
think he's going to fuck Robocop to death, is he?
No, but what I'm saying is that isn't just going to be. It's going to be a fucking. Maybe that's where a screwdriver is. Maybe it's a drill. Maybe it's got to be a fucking jackhammer, isn't it? It's got to be.
I was just going to say that.
It's got to be a jackhammer. What else is it going to be? Like
Either a high pressure water hose.
Well, yeah, possibly that. I think jackhammer. It's got to be like a fucking just hydraulic hammer or something. Like he could literally go up to Robocop and fuck him to death. Like he could face fuck him into oblivion. I mean, that's death by rape, so not pleasant. Don't like that idea, but
as opposed to all the other deaths.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's a double header in it. You get raped and you get dead. That's not.
That's not. You've got to think as a robot with a brain. He's not going to feel a lot, is he?
Well, I guess, and it's probably the most action he would have had in about 10 years. So maybe that's. I mean, again, if it's a metal face, is he able to take it? Can he take however many pounds of pressure from a giant pneumatic cock? You know, these are questions that we need to answer. And what answer? What could he
need to know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he has a comeback to that. I don't, because even like he's super strong, but could he stop a jackhammer? Like, could he catch a jackhammer and stop it?
Well, no, because of the speed they move at.
Pressure, yeah, it would eventually crush him, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But even with his armor, like eventually it would just pound that armor in.
Yeah.
We are taking a pretty big leap of faith here, though.
Has a cock.
There is no canon that says Inspector Gadget has a.
Maybe it's a canon.
Maybe it is a canon. But this is all a flight of fantasy on our part, so I'm not sure we can actually allow this. We haven't.
There is no empirical evidence of Go-Go Gadget cock, so we can't allow it, unfortunately.
No, although if we could allow it, I think that would definitely be.
That would be the funniest way to end this, so we'd have to do it.
I think it would be the way it ends. I don't think Robocop would see it coming. Well, he would when it's flying towards his fucking mouth, but I don't think he'd see it coming, and I don't think he has anything to combat it. Like,
no,
it's not like it's a fleshy appendage that you can bite off. He can't grab it. He can't cut it off. Like he's got nothing unless he's got his own jackhammer and they have like dueling cocks, where they're just like smashing into each other.
Having a sword fight.
Yeah, like just trying to dock both of them.
Oh god, I'm just thinking how I'm going to write the fucking blurb for this episode.
Robot cocks, clearly. Never mind Robocop. Robot cocks.
See, no, there's your franchise.
Yeah, no, not allowed. Okay,
no.
Making a referee's decision.
Yeah,
Robocop.
There's no evidence of him having a cock, so we can't allow it.
No, so it's back to, so what have we got? We got Gadget arms. We got Gadget roller skate limbs, which are he could have springy legs as well, couldn't he?
Yeah.
So he could potentially like spring up in the air and then fucking drop the elbow or something. Yeah. Again though, like Robocop's a big solid hunk of like what is it? Titanium, I think, isn't he?
Yeah. But again, could use the springy legs because we saw how good they were because he could always leap like 4 buildings or shit. So there would be nothing sort of going over Robocop's head, and we've already said that Robocop is his reflexes are good, and but realistically if he can bounce over his head, it's going to take Robocop a while to turn around. So then again,
he's like a dog anyway, isn't he? He can't look up. He can't do it. He can't do it.
He can't.
He can't look up. That's his weak point. If Gadget's in the copter above him,
yeah,
he's fucked. Because he's like his limit of movement upwards is about that probably. Yeah. So and like he can only do his head at like his peripheral vision's rubbish as well. So actually,
it's reverse.
Gadget could literally bomb him, couldn't he? He could just fly over on the Gadget copter.
Yeah.
And just drop. I mean, surely he's got bombs in it. He must have bombs somewhere.
It was always Quimby who had the exploding notes, wasn't it?
It was, but surely you don't build him without explosives, do you?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, has Gadget got an anus? Does he just fly over and start dropping?
Well, I don't know. We just allowed him having a cock, so he probably hasn't got an arse either.
No, but I'm just thinking he flies
Shit in
overhead.
bombs.
Just shit bombs. Yeah. Just drop exploding piles of shit on him. Well, um, I have we ever seen him use a bomb? I don't think we have we? So we
No,
can't.
he's diffused a lot.
We've got to stick to things that we know he has, really, haven't we? Because he literally could have it. We could literally go, yes, he could have that, and we'd have to
And
allow
when
it.
we write it, he will.
Yes, definitely. Oh, he's definitely shitting bombs. That's happening. Definitely shitty. He could play fucking like some weird version of snooker with himself, couldn't he? He could shit a bomb out, then use his dick to like smash it forwards, just like fire it at people. Like
Either or a bit like playing baseball with yourself, where you throw a ball up in the air and then to the bat, whack it. Just get yourself fly in an inverted manner, so you shit and it falls, and then you swing your dick at it.
in an inverted manner. We really don't have the technical language for this. This is why we aren't engineers.
That and engineer is boring. We'd much rather do shit like this.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I definitely think flying overhead is the move.
Like, yeah, because I say he can't look. No, as I said, his motion in his neck is limited.
He hasn't got his gun either.
And his movement to turn around is going to be slow.
Yeah, well, he turns from the waist, doesn't he? It's like you were saying about the action figure. Like he doesn't just turn. He turns from the waist. He like the waist turns and then the legs turn, or is it the other way around?
Yeah, the waist will go first.
The waist goes first, doesn't it? And then the legs follow.
Yeah, turn the waist, the legs will follow. I mean, I kind of liken his movement when he's walking to Crichton.
Yes, yeah.
There's a very similar sort of adopts a very similar posture and a very similar stance, and I think that's kind of that's a not quite shuffly, but no, your legs are too heavy, so you can't really control them. Sort of vibe.
Yeah. So if Gadget's flying above him, like short of like reaching up and fucking swatting King Kong style, like he's not. Robocop's not really got much, has he? Unless he can pick something off the ground and fucking throw it at him.
Well, yeah, and there is that.
You know, it depends where they're fighting at this point, doesn't it? I mean, we're not allowing his gun.
Generic cityscape, to be honest.
I figured it would be like Detroit or something. Yeah, so there's going to be like loads of fucking drugs, stolen cars. Yeah, fucking all sorts of yeah. See, I guess he could pick something up and just. He's got to take out the copter, isn't he?
Yeah.
Basically, which again, aim. Like he's got the once he can look up, he's got the targeting mechanism. But if Gadget,
he'd have to be that far away to have an angle to see it.
And as long as Gadget just strafes him, essentially, just stays above him.
Yeah.
He's fucked. He can't. He'd just be blindly throwing shit in the air. He's fucking robo juggler at this point, just throwing shit up in the air, trying to knock Gadget down.
Yeah. Because I mean, at that point, if he's above him, especially if he's above and slightly behind, again, he can use the Go-Go Gadget arms and legs to wrap him up to a point when he can then look at removing the head or removing the helmet part to start fucking about with the wiring.
Yeah, I mean, he could be above, wrap his legs around the waist, I guess. At that point, would he fly away with Robocop? Could he?
I don't know. I mean, you could pick him up.
Yeah.
What would the end game be? How would you finish him then?
Will you fly really, really, really fucking high, and then you drop him?
Yeah, but then no. So apart from so dense, he's probably going to be that dense. It's not going to make a fucking difference, is it?
True, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, you can't use any sort of big magnet because that's going to fuck Gadget as well.
Yeah.
So you'd have to be looking at either some sort of grinding, crushing machine to drop him into, or restraining him with your Go-Go Gadget arm and legs, and using the other arm to get the headpiece off. I mean, so you could get in and start fucking with the circuitry.
You could drop him in the sea. There's no fucking way he swims.
No, he can sink like a fucking.
He's gonna sink like a fucking stone.
But then again, is he going to be able to walk on the bottom? Does he need to breathe?
Surely he's got to breathe if he's got organs.
Well, this is it. We don't know because we don't know the mechanics.
Surely he's got to, because otherwise he literally is just a robot, isn't he?
Well, more or less, yeah.
Again, we don't know what we don't know on that, I suppose, but I reckon that might work. I reckon he could. But it's all about whether he's too heavy for Gadget to lift with the copter as well, is the thing.
Well, yeah.
Because it is just a tiny little one-man helicopter on his hat, isn't it? It's not a fucking,
it's not a Chinook or anything, is it?
No, exactly. So okay, so he's above him. He wraps the legs around, and I guess the idea then is get the screwdriver out of the finger, take the face piece off.
Yeah.
Go for the eyes, or go for the port on the back of the neck is the question.
Either that, I mean, like I said earlier, once the headpiece off, you can see wiring and shit. Do you just start pulling random shit out?
Yeah, I guess you do. But then you run the risk of sending him fucking mental. Again,
Yeah,
like
true.
Robocop 2. If he goes mental, then all bets are off, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you got to be careful there. But yeah, theoretically, you just start pulling shit out until sooner or later you're going to pull something that's going to just lead to some sort of fucking critical failure, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, and then you just fucking leave him in a pile of sparks on the floor. He hasn't even got a fucking dig in.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing.
Yeah, but without his gun, he's not got a lot. His close quarters is slow, and he's against an opponent who doesn't need close quarters.
That's the thing. He's got the strength, but Gadget's got the maneuverability there. He's got it all over him, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So
maybe he does have a dick after all.
Maybe he does. Yeah.
Sorry, I had to get one cum joke in.
I think he's. I think he's too versatile. I think Robocop's too much of a one-trick pony.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So I think that is it. I think he flies above him, ties him up, gets the face piece off,
and just starts fucking with him.
And just starts pulling fucking wires out till he's no fucking good anymore.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think that's it.
I think that is it. I don't
no way around that.
No, I think Gadget definitely takes down Robocop, I think. Which is disappointing because I love Robocop. But I like Inspector Gadget too. So.
I love Robocop, but I was kind of pulling for Inspector Gadget because it was so fucking unlikely.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. We're assuming this all goes according to plan. In all likelihood, he's going to try and fly overhead, get caught up on a power line or something, and electrocute himself. Yeah. You know, and then accidentally fry Robocop circuitry instead because he happens to be in contact with him. That's just the Inspector Gadget. Yeah. Either way, I think he takes it. Yeah. I think he does.
I'm amazed by that. I really didn't think he had it in him.
No. But yeah, I think I don't see any other way around it. Robocop's too slow, and we're not allowing guns.
Yeah.
If we allowed guns, it would be entirely different. It would be over in fucking.
This would have been done about 41.5 minutes ago.
Yeah. I think that was a similar issue with the Terminator fight actually as well. But yeah, Robocop's toast.
Yeah. As always, love to get people's thoughts on that. I mean,
but at least he didn't get raped.
This is true. That's always a bonus. I think that's a bonus for anybody ever.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, as I said, we don't plan these things. We do talk ourselves into these things. So if you have any alternate thoughts, please let us know. Get in touch on Twitter at ddpodcastnet. You can go to our website, ddpodcast.net, where you can also leave a message today. You can pick our previous episodes and our other shows. For example, the Inspector Gadget and Robocop v Terminator v Ultron episodes that we talked about earlier on. On Facebook and YouTube with the Double M Podcast Network, so check us out there. Wherever you get your podcasts from, be it iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Apple, Amazon Music. Like, share, subscribe, leave some message, and we back to you as best we can. Until next time.
See you later.